All right, good morning. It's a little bit after 9 o'clock. I'm going to try to make this one quick, as I always do, and typically fail. But um, I had a couple people reach out to me through, well, compounding healthcare members, and then a few other people through Seeking Alpha. Basically asking me to give me my, where are we going type of question or answer. And the market overall. And I just want we just had news that there, like basically the banking industry is, we're getting indications of, financial crisis again, different mechanisms, but same idea in many ways, where banks were doing things that they shouldn't, and they were over levered, or they were doing things essentially, they were too confident, they're taking money, taking risks that they shouldn't, stuff like that. So we're going to have some that might fail, and there might be some big names that actually might fall. But why isn't the market like completely falling apart here? Right now, this isn't like, hey, we have some indications, and there's some like, we'll go back to like the mortgage type idea, where we're getting, mortgage rates and defaults and all that, and we're hitting those, and the market was starting to fall, and it started to accelerate. But when the banks were really starting to like literally hit zeros, the market was kind of at its low. Now, I'm not saying we're not far off the bottom really at all, but unless they're waiting for like Credit Suisse or somebody else to really say like, hey, we're screwed here. But we also know a few things. Like, the US taxpayer is going to bail this out. They all know it. There's no way they let banks fail again. There's no way they let a financial crisis happen again, because guess what? They have enough information now and enough evidence to say, hey, there still needs to be oversight on these banks. I'm not going to get super political, but the last president before got rid of those things, and this is what happened. So now you have another party in power. They can say, hey, this is what happens when you don't regulate businesses, especially banks. And now it's not these banks thus far that are starting to fail are not your everyday accounts. They're under $25,000-$50,000. They're mostly multi-million-dollar accounts. So it's not really hitting Main Street, but it's enough to make people a little hesitant and concerned. But yet we're still, are we slowly, with the volumes up over the last week or so, but we're still within models. We're still following. Look right here. This is still, it's trying to get lower, but something's bidding it up. Can't get any higher because we have this anchored view app from the low keeping it. I would say we're bearish right now, but we're not like falling apart. Is this a spot where we could reverse? Maybe. It'd have to be pretty aggressive in the next day or so. It'd have to be a solid bounce from here. And it'd have to happen pretty soon. I think we look like we could be setting up for a potential double bottom. But if you're following this pattern, which is we're coming up, comes down, right? So we got to get up to a high, comes up, tries to rally, fails, comes back down, right? So if we follow that same idea, coming up off the bottom, fails to rally, so we're still at the same height, if not, kind of in a way, a little bit of a higher low. And we still have a higher high from the near high point, right? So we are kind of having this head and shoulders set up here, which could be ugly. But if she can essentially hold above, was 380, over the next, say, if we can finish above that over the next week or two and grind out of these downtrend rays from the high, we might be all right. Now here's the question. Can we get down to here on the RSI, and would that be a lower low on the RSI? Is that what they're trying to get to? Is try to get down to this 356 level again? Just pop down for a second and... Right? Could that be it? And still be above here? And it'd still be essentially a higher low on the RSI, but maybe an equal, if not like a lower low on the share price, higher RSI, or just maybe a double bottom setup? Where would we want to do that? Where would they do that? Kind of run into here. Yeah, it couldn't happen quick. It's got to be kind of slow, because then you can have the monthly RSI weaken up enough, right? And then this can kind of do a little bit of a chop, and then finally come down and hit it. But as long as the selling is not aggressive enough, you can melt away the RSI, right? So the RSI can still not necessarily just plummet all the way down to here, but yet the share price is just slowly working its way down. And it starts to, like, it strengthens up, and then there's just one little quick day of capitulation, say fill in bank whatever hits, fails in about 2 months or in a month or so, and now bring us down to this 356 362 level. It hits it in, like, then the next day or so, US taxpayers are bailing something out that they shouldn't be, and government's doing this, and then there's the whole idea, which is the rates need to change, and this and that, and then we just rock it back up. Or more than one fails and they're going to try to drag us down. Where would they want to bring us? Let's see. Yeah, there's this, and then we go all the way down the top of 20. So it's the 330s, I think it was, 320s. Yeah. So that's probably the next step. What's this area? 370s. Where are you from? All right, so here's the top of the 20. Yep, right. So here's financial crisis. Oh, man. I never noticed that. So she got above the top of the financial and the low of the financial trend. So, like, I gotta look that up. How many times does that happen? That's one of my favorites, which is, here's the, right before the financial crisis, right? We're coming up. I mean, look how this, again, I know I went over this like in a video last week or so, but look at this. So here's the bottom of .com, right? She touches it. She's just right, boom, 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 hits it, double top. I mean, the timing is absolutely impeccable. Then look. Shoot. Then look. Hits it 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Pops above it. Too much, too quick, has to implode. outside the monthly, outside the quarterly. Way outside the system, right? Had to come down. Why is this one so ugly? That might be from the quarterly. Look at that. Some of these things are just way too much coincidence here. It's all video game. The headlines are just all covers. Is this one? Let's check here. It's all video game. Yeah, she'd have to rip today. I mean, we're up a little bit in pre-market, but she'd have to start to rip today or tomorrow. Yeah, she's got about a day or two before she's going to have to either... Because, I mean, right now, yeah, she's breaking down in her near term. Long term, she's got about a month or so, I think. Right? I mean, she could probably slowly grind down here, and then she'd have to... Yeah, we'd have about a month or so before she'd have to fall apart. So... And she has space here. She could kind of probably come down to here even. Still... Yeah, that would be it. And then like about a month or so... Look at that. So if she was to keep that and then she finally breaks down here... She can come down to here a couple times, then come back up, and then finally maybe poke her head out, but then the same day get a strong rejection and then just falls down. We'll see. I really don't know, but there's plenty of scenarios that they can work into this. Headlines. Just run the smoke screens. Alright, let's take a look at some of the tickers here. Novo, I know I looked at it this morning. She's right on top of this. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. That was a no-brainer. Some of the names I put in there. Here's another one. She didn't have really too much of a technical setup besides like the idea of essentially we're getting double, triple bottoms here. Now, it's in coincides with this RSI. So look, see, this is what I found right here, right? I put it in the chat. So here's your RSIs. She's bouncing off that. Now, I didn't like obviously load up on MDT, but if there's gonna be a time where the valuation and the technical setup for taking a bottom, trying to take what could be a great opportunity to add, yeah. Or is it like a bullish setup? Not really. It could be a terribly bearish setup if it doesn't work out, right? So it's got the potential for a strong bullish setup if she can rally at least a little bit. She'd have to get above this anchored VWAP and then probably get above, that 200-day EMA, maybe even get above this. What's this kind of double top at 189, 190, or 190, 89, 90 area? There's plenty of volume in this area. She'd probably have to get above 90, really, for it to be really bullish. But, hey, are you going to wait for, take a little small stab at 79? Especially considering the yield right now for the dividend? But what happens if they cut the dividend? I don't think so. I mean, if they do, are they going to cut it by everything? You have to cut it in, beyond in half for it to, for the yield not to be attractive at that price. And the thing is the reaction, and that's the thing, the reaction from it would be still a decent deal at that price, and even if they were to cut it, the market would overreact, and you'd have another shot basically to get the same deal even cheaper, right? Not even the same deal, but you can. It would probably cut it quick enough that you can almost get the same yield. I don't know if they would move down that much, but point being is you can get. I mean, you have an opportunity to buy it at a cheaper price. And if you don't want to get involved with MDT, don't get involved with MDT. This is just turning into a grind. But I did notice, yeah, she poked out. So they fought her back down. So she's still there. Question is, so we're gonna assume this is one here, right? Because you can actually see that that's that. There's definitely one there. We're gonna say that. And does she have one here? It's kind of hard to tell. You have to go like kind of like right in the middle of it. We'll see. You see there's another one here. Now it's poking out, but it didn't, you gotta look at kind of like the obvious correlation, right? Best fit type idea, and that's a little bit of an outlier. But the point is that it still ended up above. Doesn't mean there is another one down there that's working off the bottom there. There probably is, but this is our near term. So she could probably squeeze down to 72.50 and then have to make a choice. She's gonna pop down to 69 area or finally break out and then return to the. I mean, look how far she's outside this Keltner channel. It's just you're looking for a snapback at some point. We're coming to the bottom of the quarterly. That could have been the snapback there. Another reason why she was, I put another buy alert in that one. J&J, what you doing? So there's these days, there's decent high volume. Alright, so Friday. These, again, tell me to keep. If you want to bet against Johnson & Johnson, go ahead. Good luck. Go ahead. Mark. Oh, yeah, what are we doing here? So she broke there. Gotta hold off. She's going lower. And I'm gonna look for it. You can't, they have a approved drug that just proved that it can work in the cardiovascular risk reduction. So, it's important to note in this situation is that Esperion can cancel or terminate their partnership if they want to and re-sign with somebody else. It's in it. So obviously if Daiichi doesn't want to pay them the milestone royalties, they can terminate the partnership. It's over. They don't have to do it. They can go find somebody else. Wall Street knows this. They knew this was going to happen, right? They knew it here. So they started setting the grind in. This angle of attack, this is what they want. This was going to happen. So, timing. Look how much this moved down on what volume. They just needed the next day to accumulate shares at this price. And yet it kind of actually moved up, right, from the bottom. This, when you see this if it's the opposite, this is when you get scared, which is when you see this and it moves up like that on this volume. So this volume, I know you can't see, but there's a huge volume bar right here. It's when you see this over here and this volume on when it's starting to come back up, because then you get a solid rollover. I mean, now it's just computers playing. See, like there's the anchored VWAP. Look where it hit, right? So low volume here, grinding right on top of the RSI. We're just going to take our time. We're going to wait for a setup. Very simple. They were able to gap that down, and then nobody bid it up because everybody wants it lower. Because the smart people are saying, hey, it's cheaper than their sales right now in the U.S. alone. The sales that they handle, right? It's a value buy on the sales that Esperion handles in the United States for the indication that they have now. Now, they're losing money. I get that. I know there's obviously a pressure to get some cash, right? But if they can find a way to get some cash, what are they going to do? I mean, and they cancel a deal? I mean, who's not going to help and step in with this? Now, this could be, some sort of operation to get these guys to crush out and, kind of do a Clovis deal long term, but the upside potential is huge. It's a speculative play. Like, no one's going in here and, putting basically J&J money into Esperion. I mean, unless you have some inside information there, but the opportunity is here to make some money and then maybe make some big money. Maybe you get a Novavax play. Maybe you get Novavax had the same idea. Nothing was going on. Everything was doom and gloom. And then one day it was gangbusters. Who else had bad? Everything was doom and gloom. Oh, yeah. Global Blood Therapeutics. Right? That was all doom and gloom. Oh, it's too expensive. Their patient population has very low adherence and, compliance, obviously, yeah, we know that. We know that patient population in terms of compliance is horrendous. But, health insurance companies pay for it. It's good money. That was bought up. That drug is probably useful in other indications. At least the technology that Global Blood Therapeutics has, right? Their platform tech. Any other guys in here that are really got doom and gloom that's like SGMO? Keep watching this one. It's getting super cheap. I have to buy that today. But we're just gonna wait for the algo break, right? So can't fight that right now. She was outside for a little bit there. Did they reset something when she popped out? I mean, they have the anchored VWAP popping off it. Yeah, there's something else thrown in there. So there you go. You just gotta wait. Look at the volume coming up. Oh, their SVP exposure? I didn't know that. Huh. Alright, bring it down. Yeah, might be time to get some serious about SGMO. HRTX, is she finally grinding? No, she needs a little bit more time here. Yeah, because we have a new one in here. Gotta wait. Kano. Still pretty close though, look. Starting to pop out just a little bit. Volume's low, coming down to this. So we need the monthly, before we can start getting aggressive with this, we need the monthly to really start. If we want to trade this and then make some cash on the way up, we need the monthly to start curling up, and we need, so basically a nice pop up, monthly starts to curl back up, and then we need to roll over and essentially either double bottom around the dollar, maybe even dip below, and then she starts to rip up. But we're gonna need a lot of things working for us here. Alright, so they set that up hard. No, it's not that. Starting into a long video, and I apologize. Did they shake all the people out of HARP yet? They need to exhaust it, right? So they need you to give up. Like, it's a dead company, and I lost all my money. Although I how about this? This is a great one. I just realized this. All my best wins in BioBoom are always losers until they absolutely were winners, right? Now that might seem very fortunate, but the idea was that some of these big winners, analysts did maybe an upgrade or a downgrade or some sort of note once every year. Nobody was talking about it. They had their first shot at their pipeline showed promise, and even though the company the whole entire time was saying we're trying to establish these as proof of concepts, we're starting off with like a pretty, what would you say? They either go after something like pancreatic cancer, which is like kind of a home run hit, or they go after some like third line therapy where there's basically nothing there, right? And where everything else is, basically they go after where everything else has failed, right? So they're not going after the stuff that really where it should probably work, because if it fails there, then they know they're screwed. So they start off and they show some promise, but it's obviously not like going to be like pancreatic cancer is almost, it's nearly impossible to win, right? By the way, did this really hit the 200 day? Oh no, it went up above it that day. I caught my eye. Oh yeah, I remember selling it, sell one. Look at that. See, like HARP is another one where, the data has been decent, but it hasn't been home run, so it hasn't required the market to bid it up dramatically right now. But is there science junk? No. No, their pipeline has promise. So they want you to believe that the first shot at the most obscure indication, or is what's, they just want you to think that you're losing, and it's junk. Now it could be junk, like you take Affimed, like I'm not saying Affimed's junk in any way, but they have a serious issue with the narrative that everything that they're doing, like everything was supposed to work as a monotherapy. And if I went back and I probably looked at how they were wording it, maybe they were putting it out there that they thought the monotherapy was going to be like gangbusters. But I never thought the best thing was going to be a monotherapy with those things. I thought it would obviously have to be with NK cells, because if you compare it with NK cells, which is what they're trying to bring into the equation, I mean, somebody who has already NK cells in their system that hasn't identified the cancer. That's now, yeah, you bring in a few NK cells from these innate cell engagers, these ice molecules. Yeah, you might start seeing something. Now, the data that they had before, there was the mechanism of action was working. It's just not working at fast or strong enough rate. So what do you have to do? Maybe is it because the ice engagers are not engaging, or is it because the NK cells are just not simply working hard enough? There's not enough of them, or it's not the innate cell engagers don't have the affinity they want. So what do? All right, well, let's load up some NK cells with these innate cell engagers. So if the innate cell engager is going to attach the cancer cell, guess what's attached to the other end of the innate cell engager? That's the NK cell. Let's see how that works. I didn't think that like we were going to see some sort of like miraculous. I mean, you'd have to have some sort of immune boosting stimulant in the first place to be in there, which is kind of counterintuitive. I mean, you can't. Just I don't know. And the guys who are writing these research notes, like, I'm not an absolute genius at all this. You know, there's guys on the street who have MDs that are working for these. They know this stuff. But they're looking at the opportunity, which is get people to believe this because there is a little, like, their research note has some evidence to it, right? Like, that you could say, like, hey, it didn't do this, so it's bad. Well, it's not as amazing as it could have been, but was the bar really set at that height that you're claiming that you say is a failure? Did the company actually? I mean, like, that was the hope, that was the idea, that was the potential, like, optimal bull thesis of the situation, best case scenario, right? And it comes up a little bit short, but shows that there's something happening there. How do we learn from this? Did they learn from it already? Did they learn from it, or did they anticipate this? Now, I'm going on Ultimate Soapbox. It's 9:38. I haven't even put anything into the watch list today. I apologize when you guys see this video. But, holy cow. Can we please get like when you're looking at this and you're reading these research notes, these downgrades, the downgrades have to kind of come because, it's the pile-on and then also adjust their target for the current share price. You can't have a $15 price target on 78-cent stock, right? You can't because you look like a moron. You have to downgrade it for the technicals. Notice when they do those downgrades, it's not like a valuation, right? It's just, basically how do we adjust what we thought it was to what it is now? It's just a recalibration. Did we really miss the blue buy target? Alright, keep an eye on blue. They're grinding this one down nicely too. Yeah, so that's, you can see this one's what set it up. So it broke out of that one. But I would say this is probably, that was it there too. So that's it. There's probably another one out there too, but that's what we're working with. So we'd have to see, it's probably going to have to come back down near the buy target. Keep an eye on it. If it drops below, great. Look at that volume. Friday. What are you doing here? Okay. Where are you coming from? Not really. That was one, and it failed, right? So, 1, 2, 3, failed, came up, retested it. Interesting. You can actually probably have this as one right here. Right? No. Probably not. So that could be one right there. So she's got some space. That'll be a lower. Yeah. So keep out $2 is probably what they're gonna go for, right? Yeah, it's 209 there. Comes down to 2. A little bullish divergence. Look at that. February, a year, right? Over a year. It's not a video game at all. I might buy some KPTI today. Aspirian KPTI. Oh, well, yeah, let's see what we got for company that pulls in. Yeah, they're still hiding up there. Let's see what we can get her today under $10. Sirs. Bullish divergence. Yep. Came down, tagged this. Lower share price, higher RSI. Starting to see no strength in the monthly yet, so it would be a small addition, but yeah, see, this is still in control here. Do we have anything here? No. This could be... Yeah, she's squeezing into something here. She's right on it. So keep an eye here. What a disappointment. But that's healthcare tech right now. Just don't touch it. Nobody's signing any big contracts to new. So the growth is going to be terrible for healthcare technology probably for the next few years. You might, I mean, maybe for some companies that are cheaper options, or as starting to establish something new that might be of value. But anybody who's in a crowded field that is perceiving value, probably not. Not going to really. NHM should probably got to keep an eye on it, but Orgo, what are you doing? Look at that volume. Look at the volume. Everybody, notice how all these guys had great volume on Friday? Barely went anywhere, though, so there was a little battle going on there. Keep an eye on Orgo. SRPT, oh yeah. I like SRPT. Alright, so where did this one come from? Notice how we got this? Video game. Video game. I whiffed on it, but you can see what I'm talking about. Just another video game day. She's got some time to get pressured again. She came down after she was doing strong work. have something here, though. Yeah. Broke out. It's not as clean as I think they want it to be. Yeah, it might have already broke out already. It's just it failed to bounced out, and this is what they ran into. So I'll look to. I'm sticking to the $2 buy target. That's for sure. I think they'll break this. The angle of attack is pretty steep. That just might be a temporary stop sign. All right. Novo pop up. Yeah, it did. Still hasn't. Yep, still hasn't got through though. HCA. Oh yeah, we want Bristol Myers. Very close. She tagged what I was looking for, but missed. I think she missed it by a cent or something, or did she hit it? She hit it right on the dot. Wasn't ready for that one. But that's what I'm looking for. $65 for BMY. I just grinding her down, right? So, just holding on, letting them do their work. Let them make it cheaper for us. Go ahead. Spend time, money, all your algorithms grinding away. And this is why when you hit sell targets, even though, well, it's going to be a great, they have to make money both ways. They don't make that much money if it just goes like this, right? This makes them lots of money because they know they can get here, sell here, buy here, options, premium, all that stuff. That's just money coming in for people being wrong, right? So you gotta be willing to play their game at least a little bit. Oh, worrying about, at the top, are you gonna miss out if it goes all the way? Oh, okay, if you did, but did you still make money? Yeah. Okay, maybe it goes up a whole bunch more, but it's probably not. If you don't want to look at your account and press buttons and deal with taxes, yeah, I understand. But, from here to here? Really? Not willing to take some money on that? 81 to 66? OGN. Probably pull the trigger on this one again. Not seeing any really strong setups, but yield is through the roof. Basically all valuations tell you that this is just an absolute deal and a half. So, looks like they're starting to break that RSI trend. So OGN would be a decent one to consider today. DGX was another one. Yeah. Just getting close. Alright, I have to end it here. I have other work to do. Gotta make some trades myself. Let's take a quick look in at the XBI. No, SPY. Let's take a look at SPY. So we're grinding 391. It's a green day. Still can't get above the anchored VWAP though. So this is when we start to wonder at 10 o'clock, do they roll her over? coming from here. Volume's not bad. Tag the top of the Keltner channel, so give it a second. But this is always a good one, which is when you see a nice big green candle, holds there for just about a candle, and it could be a minute. Now, if you look at the hourly, it's also great. You know, it works on almost all time frames. But she's hanging out right near the top, and then we just pop through under volume. So sellers are kind of giving up. Buyers are stepping in, seeing that there's some strength at the bottom here. What? There's a video, he was like, I guess he was in a part of Ukraine, and there's a guy who's wearing a mask. You can see, like, it's, I mean, I guess he was there, but, like, he had body double out doing some of the, like, promo shots. And the body double had to, like, it was starting to slip off, so you could see him, like, put his, like, thumb underneath, like, literally underneath the mask and move his, like, to like, readjust it, because it was, like, sliding down his face so much that his, like, eyes were, like, turning dark. There's like shadows over his eyes because like the mask was popping off too much. Didn't look like him at all. I mean, nothing about it was. They even like took like some like white spray paint to put it like on the top near the side of his head. It's really interesting. It's like, I mean, the camera that that was taking the shot like was like a mile away. It was like one of those like long distance walking shots, you know. So. Man, tired. Alright, I'm going to end it here. This is where they could roll her over. I got to get ready for it. I'll put something into the chat today. I wouldn't touch anything until the afternoon. I think that's where, even when we see, unless it's news driven, like even these technical moves like right now, we're starting to like, I mean, that's pretty aggressive off the bottom. We got double bottom. This is the angle of attack. But once this angle of attack stops, and if it hasn't really definitively, see like we're getting these long wicks right here. If we haven't like, I guess kind of consolidated and not really distributes. I mean, we're starting to tail off and fade. But if we're holding here and there's like a little pull up and then we come back up again, kind of a cup and handle at the top of a double top. That's where you can say like, hey, this is gonna be a strong move for the day. But right now, this could be a setup for a strong fade once this. See, like right here, volume's starting to come up a little bit. So she's starting to drop below. So the idea would be the next candle hits here, comes back up, but then fails to reacquire the angle of attack. So you see if it comes back up here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Or she might have done it already. Maybe. One could argue that already happened. Yeah, it happened on this candle. So this was the angle attack. So it already happened. Came up and failed to get above. Actually, this was to maintain it. Needed to close above this one. So now this is the angle of attack down. So I'm one candle late on that idea, but because it was more like here when it happened. This is really the angle of attack they had up. I can't get it perfect, but I'm trying to get right through the middle of this candle. So right around, nope, close enough. You get the idea. See how close it came to it? Now, of course, there could be another, like right here, this could be a nice setup for the bulls, but that's another angle of attack here. Maybe she comes up to here again. You know, it's every time you come up and you're not holding here and you're kind of just driving up, driving up, driving up. It's these long wicks. It's a battle right now, but double bottom, got up above the high, still holding above this high. As long as the candles keep basically finishing above 391.53, she's still good. She could be setting herself up for a nice move in about half an hour-ish. Anyway. Alright, that'll be it. I'll put those names in the chat. Sorry for the long video. Good luck. Stay healthy.